There's a $130 trillion monetary premium embedded in global real estate, and Bitcoin will siphon it away. Let's explain how I arrived at that figure and why this is going to happen. So, when the world abandoned sound money in 1971, capital needed a new place to hide. The global economy was unanchored, money had no hard backing, and fiat could expand endlessly. And so it did. And that flood of monetary capital needed somewhere to go. So it went into real estate. Not just for shelter, not just for farmland, but ultimately because of its relative scarcity, real estate became the world's primary savings vehicle, whether homeowners themselves knew it or not. Today, the global real estate market is worth $370 trillion. But if you strip away inflation and structural growth, the data tells a striking story. Only 2/3 of that value is justified. The rest, around $130 trillion, is monetary premium. In other words, capital searching for safety in a world where cash loses value by design. Let's zoom in on the United States. So the median U.S. home sells for $512,800, but it only costs $354,780 to build that same house. That $158,020 gap isn't granite countertops or location premiums, it is a fiat distortion. It's the byproduct of 50 years of debasement, easy credit, suppressed interest rates, and government incentives pushing capital into housing as a default savings mechanism. In other words, 31% of the value in U.S. homes is a pure speculative premium. To double check that figure, let's take the 1975 median home price of $39,500 and adjust it for both size and growth in CPI through 2025. And then you get $332,195. Still far below today's median of $512,800. So regardless of the method, we arrive at the exact same truth. Roughly 1/3 of U.S. home value is monetary premium, just pure misallocated capital. And if we multiply that premium across the entire $48.1 trillion U.S. housing market, you get between $15 trillion and $17 trillion in excess valuation. Now let's scale that globally. So apply the exact same math to the $370 trillion global real estate market, and you uncover the punchline. The world's homes, buildings, and land carry a $114 to $130 trillion distortion, a speculative layer that exists solely because the money is broken. And here's the most important part. Roughly 75% of this distortion, some $86 to $99 trillion, is concentrated in residential real estate alone. Here are both methodologies for calculating this monetary premium, broken down by the major categories in real estate: residential, commercial, and agricultural. And as you can see here, between $86 and $99 trillion globally in residential real estate shouldn't be there. People buy homes not just to live in them, whether they realize it or not, but to protect themselves from monetary decay. And this is the exact same reason why investors have taken such a keen interest in residential real estate. It's something that there will always be a need for. Agricultural land may be in less relative demand as a result of more efficient agriculture technology, and commercial real estate demand is falling relative to the other categories because working in a physical office space is falling in popularity globally. So ultimately, this impacts homeowners more than it impacts anything else. So now that we've quantified the total global monetary premium and we've shown that nearly $100 trillion of it rests in homes alone, let's understand where we're going from here. The reason all of this started is because this flood of capital post-1971 was searching for a store of value. Ultimately, real estate, being relatively scarce, became that store of value. But it's an imperfect store of value. So for the first time in history, we now have a more perfect store of value, and that's Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't rot, rust, or require a roof. It's permissionless, portable, and programmatically scarce. How's that for alliteration? It's the perfect store of value, and it's only 16 years old. And it's already absorbed over $2 trillion in global capital over that 16-year life. And it's barely begun to drain the excess from imperfect assets like real estate. It's not a question of if Bitcoin siphons this premium, it's how quickly. As understanding grows and adoption compounds, real estate will revert to what it was always meant to be: shelter, not savings. And Bitcoin will assume its rightful role as humanity's chosen reserve asset. That $130 trillion isn't gone. It's just waiting to be repriced. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and, of course, reshare so more people can see this and follow for more. And, of course, check out Horizon. Horizon lets you stack Bitcoin using your home equity without debt, monthly payments, interest charges, or term limits. You can check that out at joinhorizon.com or by scanning the QR code right there. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.